Me and my wife just closed on our 9th flip property. But things did not go as planned. We got too comfortable and ended up making some rookie mistakes that cost us about $30,000 in profit. I'm gonna walk y'all through the deal, including a full breakdown of the costs and explain the mistakes that I made so you don't make those same mistakes on your first or your next flip property. I want y'all to be better than me out there, man. Let's talk about it. All right, so first, let's break down the costs. I sold this property for $290,000. So I'm gonna list out the expenses and we're just gonna subtract everything from that $290,000. I purchased the property for $158,000. The closing costs to buy the property, including the fees for my hard money loan, came out to about $15,000. I'm just gonna round up on that number. Now my rehab cost me $75,000 when I was only planning to spend $55,000. So that's $20,000 of my profit right there. So my remodel was $57,500. Then I paid another $9,000 for the roof and another $8,500 for the foundation, bringing us to that $75,000. My interest for the hard money loan from October to April was $11,802. My insurance for the home was $2,200. Now, anytime you buy a flip property, you do have to get property insurance, okay? And so you have to pay a premium for a 12-month period, even though you may not plan to hold that deal for 12 months. So if you buy that 12-month premium and you get out of that deal in 6 months, then the insurance company will reimburse you for the other 6 months that you did not use. And so we will be getting about $1,100 back from the insurance premium, but I am not counting that towards the profits. I paid $2,900 for appliances. That was a double oven, a stovetop, a microwave, and a dishwasher. Then after we got the cosmetics done in the house updated and had a buyer locked in, we had to get an inspection, and that ended up coming back letting us know we needed to upgrade our electrical box, and that cost me $1,600. Then from another inspection we got done, they wanted us to double check the foundation with a certified engineer. So we had to get an engineering report, and that cost us $450. Then anytime we list the property, if we don't physically stage the property with furniture, then we get virtual staging, which is what we did in this instance because we were already tight on the money. And so we did virtual staging. That cost us $300. Then we got a make-ready cleaning. Anytime you flip a property, after the remodel is done, the house may be very beautiful from the updates, but it's gonna be very dusty, okay? Because there's a lot going on with wood and flooring, countertops, installations, taking things out, and so it's gonna be really dusty in the home. So anytime we finish a remodel before we list it on the market and have potential buyers walk through the property, we like to get a make-ready cleaning where we have a maid come in, sweep, dust, clean the windows, and have it spotless so our buyers are more reluctant to go ahead and make an offer. Since we sat in the deal for 6 months, we also had to have utilities, water and lights, which cost us around $1,500. Lastly, the closing cost to sell the deal was another $15,000. We actually saved money on this because my mom is my realtor, so she just charged us a flat fee of $5,000 instead of the typical 3%, which would have been $8,700. So we saved $2,700 by using my mom as our realtor, and my mom sells all of my deals. So after all of that hard work, we ended up walking away with $5,948 approximately. But if you count that up based on how long we held the deal, 6 months, that equals out to a little less than $1,000 a month in profit. I could have made more money than that doing DoorDash, dog. Now, even though we didn't go into the red and lose money on this deal, which I'm very thankful for, let me tell you why this number sucks so bad. One, we were expecting to make $35,000 plus in profit on this deal. But since we went over budget on our rehab $20,000, we had to subtract that. And then we were only planning on holding this deal at 4 months max. But we ended up holding a deal for 6 months. And those extra 2 months cost us another $4,000. You probably hear all the time that time is money, but in real estate investing, that is so true. every month, every week can cost you thousands of dollars. We like to say time kills all deals. And the longer a deal sits on the market, the less valuable it becomes. So time really does cost you when you're rehabbing properties. Keep that in mind. Then if I include all the drives that I had to make back and forth to the property to check on the rehab, go by, pick up trash from the yard, because this house was off of a main street, which I typically would not buy this type of house, but we'll get into that. And so that commute is about 30 minutes away from my house. I did that at least 10 to 15 times over the span of this deal. So if we include my time, my physical labor for picking up trash and things like that, and the mental exhaustion from all the anxiety I had praying that we finally got this deal closed, I damn near broke even. But okay, enough about the money. Y'all know I barely made any bread on this deal. What's really important are the 3 mistakes that I made to lead me to this point. So let me break those down for y'all. First, the time frame. Remember, time kills all deals, and time is money in real estate. So we were in this deal for 6 months. One of the biggest reasons why we were in this deal so long is because our rehab went longer than we expected. But that's our fault, because we did not give our contractor a timeline and a checklist and stand firm on that. Instead, we kind of gave him the freedom to work on the project as he pleases. Now, he's a very good contractor, so this is nothing bad against him. This is the same guy who has done all of my flip properties. We love him to death. He's like family. But we got too comfortable and strayed away from our process, which would be creating that scope of work and then creating a timeline based on that scope of work with a checklist to break down how long we expect the rehab to take and what items will be taken care of every week along that process. All right, that's how we typically do it. That's how you should do it. But this time we did not do that. We got too comfortable and just said, hey, this is the house. This is what we want done. This is the money. We'll deposit it as you get things done. Let's do it. Never, ever do that, all right? Always establish a timeline up front with your contractor and create a checklist and a timeline based on the scope of work and necessary rehab for the property. And be firm with that so you can stay on track and not lose time, which means losing money. Second, we did not get an inspection on the major ticket items prior to closing the deal. So that includes the roof, foundation, electrical, and plumbing. And 2 of those ended up costing us a lot more money and a lot more time because we overlooked them. Now, I've walked a lot of properties. Even though I've only flipped 9 houses, through my wholesaling business, I have walked hundreds of properties. I mean, I could not even count. I've walked hundreds of properties. And so I got comfortable in that regard and felt like, you know what, I can eyeball this. I can see what needs to be rehabbed, what looks okay, and what can probably pass inspection. And so I skipped a step and did not get our major ticket items inspected. No matter how much experience you have, you really never know what a property really needs until you peel those layers back and actually look into them, all right? Even if I would have had an inspection, I probably could have missed some items, but not the roof and not the foundation. That would have let me know up front where we were looking at in terms of cost. Like I mentioned in that expense breakdown, we ended up having to pay extra money for the roof and the foundation, which we could have avoided, or we could have worked that in. Always inspect your major ticket items prior to closing on your rehab property. At a minimum, you want to get the roof and the foundation inspected because you can get those inspections done for free. Third, I made an emotional purchase. My wholesale company was originally going to wholesale this deal because that's how we sourced the lead. But once I got it under contract, and we blasted it out to have some interested buyers walk through, the offers were coming back lower than expected. I eventually went back to the seller and got a price reduction. I went as low as we could possibly go based on what I knew she needed to walk away with, and it still was not good enough. We still could not get an assignment fee that would make sense for us. But it was also an emotional situation for the seller because she was actually a realtor herself and she was looking to sell her dad's property because her mom had passed away and her dad was looking to go into a long-term care facility and they needed the funds to pay for his long-term care. It was a very emotional situation as it was her parents' house that they had been living in forever. So even though she was a realtor, she did not want to list it on the market for that reason, and she had a lot of other offers, but she ended up deciding to go with me. With me knowing it was a very emotional situation and that they were in a time crunch and needed this done really fast, I did not want to back out of the deal because we could not get an end buyer on the assignment. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and close on this deal myself and I'll flip the property. Even though when the other buyers were not coming in at good offers, that was a red flag for me, but I wanted to honor this agreement because again, it was a very emotional situation for the sellers and I wanted to honor that. I didn't want to back out and leave them hanging, make her have to go through this process again. You know, have them do an inspection, bring their buyers through and go through that whole process again when I know it was very emotional for her. So I just stepped up and purchased the deal myself. I honestly felt obligated to get the deal done for her, even at my own expense. It's not a deal that I would have originally picked up just based on the location and the lack of remodel comps in the area. So it wasn't a lot of fix and flip comps in the area. That's the reason why I would typically stay away from a flip. And again, the area, it wasn't a really good area and it was off of a main street. My wife hates those type of flip deals, but she's my wife. I convinced her that it was gonna be a deal. We could make 35 grand from it, so she went for it. Never make emotional purchases. They can cost you. All in all, I don't feel bad though. I'm just happy, very happy to be out of the deal without us going into the negative and losing money on it. I knew better than to make the mistakes that I made, but like I mentioned, we've been using the same contractor across all of our flips and we've made really good money. So we just got too comfortable, you know, closed our eyes and stepped away from our processes, which I will never do again and you shouldn't do either. Be better than me, stick to your processes, do not make these kind of mistakes. I went from staring down 35 grand to looking at 5 grand. I mean, a win is a win, but like I said, over a 6-month period, I could have made more money on DoorDash, but I am still thankful that we were able to get this done. Mostly thankful that we were able to honor our deal with the seller so they could move on to bigger and better things. As for me, I'm back on the hunt for the next flip property, baby. So if you got some, send it my way. But I am going to do my due diligence, so it better be a deal. Until next time, y'all, tap in.